Hiya Mark, thanks for the footage. Great looking swing overall, certainly from P1 to P4, doing a great job. Just a few little tweaks needed to make that backswing absolutely fantastic. Quick overview, I've got Charlie Wee down obviously for a comparison beneath your swing. Just a few little notes about your setup first before we move on to the swing itself. At setup, I would like to see this right foot turned out or flared out just a touch more, like we see here down on the bottom right, or bottom centre should I say, with Charlie. What that's going to do is just have this right knee out a little bit rather than being kinked in. As that right knee kinks in, it's dropping the right hip and giving the appearance that we've got excessive side bend to the right. So with the foot turned out more, the right knee would turn out more, and that would raise the whole of the right side and just diminish this side bend to the right a little bit. So it would be a little bit more like we're seeing here with Charlie. We do want a slight side bend to the right at P1, but we don't want an excessive side bend to the right at P1. Now in regards to the effect that would have during your takeaway, first thing it would do is we notice that as you take the club back, there's a slight movement off the ball with that hip. Remember, the role of the right hip is to move up and back during the course of the backswing. With it sitting so low at address, it's hard to get it to work up and back soon enough, and as a result there's an ever so slight drift off the golf ball as you make your first move away. And the effect that has can be seen here from down the line. It means that instead of the shoulders turning at 90 degrees to the inclination to the ground, they're turning just above that line. You can see here with Charlie that his right hip is more level at setup with his left. As he takes the club back, that right hip can work up straight away. Up and back is the roll of that right hip. So his right hip is getting much higher, much sooner, putting some left side bend in very, very quickly. With yourself, we're still side bending to the right a little bit as we start the majority of the backswing. When viewed from down the line, you can see that Charlie's right hip works up and back very quickly, allowing the arms to work in and allowing the shoulders to turn on a tilted angle at 90 degrees to the inclination to the ground. So just a small change there. You can flare that right foot out, work the right knee out, and maybe get the feeling that the right hip is up a little bit higher at P1. That would help you get that left shoulder working down P1 to P3 a little bit more in an appropriate manner. Having said that, positions you arrive in at P4, to be fair, if even half my lessons could achieve the position you're in at P4, I would be a very, very happy man. Really good position at that point. Slight change in inclination, but maintaining the axis of the shoulder turn very well. You can see that right knee now in the centre footage has started to work up a little bit more. Bump off, right hip works up, good extension. Remember, extension is the whole of the right side, so you've got the right ankle, the right knee, the pelvis. You've also got the thoracic to extend. It's not just the upper spine that's extending, it's the pelvis and the knee area as well. So that change at setup can help make that a little bit easier for you to achieve. So taking Charlie to the top and yourself to the top. Done a really good job there, Mark. Fabulous job. Again, your hip not quite as high as Charlie's hip. Again, setup change can help you with that, but a big, or should I say, a very good top of the backswing position. The issue I've got now with yourself is that there's too much flexing forward. You're going to see now as you start down, big loss of height, big loss of height, every one of them, and from there you just can't get that club coming out the ground. You're going to be hitting down steeply on it. You're going to struggle to square up the club face. You stay flexed forward too long during the through swing. So you can see there now we're bent forward as we finish the swing, as opposed to extending. There's that standing up piece. So you remember the sequence of moves that Charlie makes. He's flexed forward during the setup. He extends or stands up during the backswing. He flexes forward again, back into his address flex, before then extending into the finish, as can be seen here from face on. With yourself, you can see the red line showing the inclination that you had to the ground. Way too much flexing forward, getting way lower than the address flex, and then from there you're really going to struggle. Staying flexed forward, elbows start to divide a little bit, well after impact here. Too much forward flexion from P4 to P5 and P6. So now what we're trying to get, we're trying to make a swing around a fixed axis with a constant inclination. Your axis is pretty fixed, as can be seen from face on, but your inclination to the ground changes dramatically. One of the things I would suggest you do, just bring some drills up here for you, is isolate some of the pieces of the swing. So there's your flexing forward, followed by an extension, followed by flexing forward again, before fully extending. Again, so flex forward at address, before, excuse that red line, that yellow line should I say, before extending. So remember the left tilt offsets the extension, but what we're seeing there is a player standing up. Player stands up, before then returning back into the address flex at P6. See there how it's excessive, and then fully extending in the finish, as can be seen by Charlie Wee and myself demonstrating the piece in isolation. Was with yourself, we'll flex forward for too long during the finish. So if you look at the 10-word template, the first piece I will be working on will be the tucking of the hips. You can see the difference between yourself and Charlie Wee. Charlie's hips are tucked under him. Your hips are pushed out behind your torso. So tucking the hips under more. And the best drill for learning how to come out of the ground at the correct rate and learn to extend would be to hit some shots with the ball way in the back of your stance. So when you're looking at this from face on, if I get some chance during the weekend, I'll video this drill for you. I'm sure I've got some on here somewhere. I was looking earlier and I was just finding it difficult to locate the footage of a player hitting the ball way back in the grid. So the first thing I do is flare out the right foot, push up the right hip, move the right knee out, side bend less to the right at setup. Then I would be hitting some shots with the ball opposite the right instep. With the ball opposite the right instep, that's going to produce a steeper angle of attack, and you are now going to have to extend and tuck the hips to bring the club out of the ground through impact. So expect to see the ball push to the right when you're doing this drill, Mark, because you're establishing a path and a club face that is way to the right. So ball opposite the right instep, hitting a lot of shots, straight pushes, and in order for you to hit a straight push with the ball way back in the stance, you have to learn to extend. Now, spending time in a position where you have to extend to hit a good shot is going to discourage this flexing forward that you do during the downswing. So a little bit more work on extension from P4 to P6. We should be flexing forward back into a dress flex, not beyond. And then from P6 to P8, we should be pushing up off the ground and tucking the hips beneath us in the through swing. As I said, I'll video myself doing that drill and send it across to you over the weekend. Great work with the backswing, just needs a little bit of work on the transition, and I can assure you that the angle of attack will shallow nicely and the ball flight will become much more predictable when you get this piece worked in there. Good luck with it, thanks for the footage, and I look to following your progress and working with you again in the coming weeks. Well done.